In this video, we're going to take a look at the Cloud9 community, how to send and receive new connection invitations, and add pre-existing connections to our layout. Taking a look at the sample profile we have on screen here, you can see we already have several connections that have been pre-configured and added to the layout. Cloud9 gives users the ability to create new connections and invitations to counterparties or trading partners that are on the Cloud9 network. To begin, we're going to click on the community window in the top left corner of the control panel. The community window defaults on the Create Invitation page. To create a new connection, the first thing we're going to do is extend this financial community. This community list that we're looking at is a list of all the desks and firms that are actively using Cloud9 today. For security reasons, we don't display any user data, but you do have the ability to view what firms are online and what desks they have using the application. For this example, we're going to build a connection to ABC Trading, which is a test firm that is using Cloud9. When I highlight the firm, on the right hand side you'll see all the groups that that firm has on net. If the counterparty I want to connect to is a part of that energy group, I'm going to highlight the energy group here and click Invite. The window that pops up is going to be what we use to create the new invitation. The top line here displays where this connection invitation is coming from. In this particular case, we're in the professional services group, and the connection is going to the energy group over at ABC Trading. The second line is the connection type. Cloud9 supports both ring down and shout down connections that can be used between traders. It's at the user's discretion to choose this connection type depending on the relationship that they have with their counterparty. For this example, we're going to create a shout down. Below the connection type, you'll see two text boxes for button labeling. The button label for your firm is how your users are going to see that connection when looking at their own layout. The button label for the counterparty firm is how the distant end is going to see that button when looking at their layout. To start, we're going to label the connection for our side. We're going to call this ABC Trading. Now we're going to label what the counterparty sees. We're going to label their side of the connection as C9 Technologies. The text field for the button labels only supports alphanumeric characters. However, there is no limit to the number of characters that can be entered. These labels can be updated on each user's layout at a later time. When you're happy with your label, click Done. Now that we've created a new invitation, we can head back to our home screen. Now that we're back on our home screen, you can see we have a brand new shout-down connection labeled ABC Trading. Something you'll notice about the new connection we've made is that it's inactive. This is because while we did just create a new invitation, it hasn't been accepted by the counterparty yet. Think of the invitation process as if you were adding somebody on your social media, such as Facebook or LinkedIn. You'd find your group or user through the directory, send them an invitation, and once they accept that invitation, you're now connected with them. Once the counterparty accepts this invitation, it will be illuminated blue, signifying that the connection is now active and the counterparty is online. If an external counterparty builds a connection towards our firm, we'll see a new invitation flag be illuminated on the community button. You can see here we have a red 1 signifying that there's one new connection that's been created for our group. To view the connection, we're going to click on the community button, and rather than look at the Create Invitation page, we're going to navigate to the New Invitations tab. Here, we can see all the information about the connection that was created. We can see the date and the time it was created, who the counterparty is, what that button label is, as well as any users that may have already added it to their layout. If we want to accept this invitation, all we have to do is click the green Accept button. When we look at this invitation, if it's not one that we as a user are supposed to have, we can choose to ignore it. After 24 hours, this invitation will no longer be flagged as new. A common scenario that users may face is that if there's a new hire that joins the team and they need to be added to a connection that's already existing. While still here in the community window, we're going to navigate to the next tab, which is labeled as Connections. This page shows a list of all the different connections that have already been created for the group that we're in. You can search for a particular button label, firm, or connection ID, or sort the connections by either your group or your counterparty. If I sort the connections by counterparty and then alphabetize it, it will organize all the connections that have been created by each counterparty. We can see here that we have 18 different connections that are going to the ABC Trading firm. If there's an old connection I need to add here, I can extend this list and take a look at the connections that we have going to this firm. Here we can see the button label, how many people are already subscribed to the button, and if we have other connections that are going to this firm, the little checkboxes here will signify that we already have them on our layout. As I click on each connection in this list here, I can see some different details and data about that connection. If I highlight this connection down here, we can see details like when the connection was created and by who, the default button label, the connection type, and the connection ID that's unique to this particular connection. Additionally, in the bottom right corner of the screen, I'll see all the users that have already added this connection to their layout. To add any of these connections to our layout, all we have to do is click the checkbox. Now, once again, when we return to our home screen, you can see we have a brand new connection, again similarly labeled ABC Trading. To change the label on the connections, again we're going to open up our community window. We're going to navigate down to the My Buttons tab, where we see a reflection of all the connections that we have on our layout. You can see here we've got our 2 shouts, our 2 ring downs, our 2 intercoms, and these 2 buttons that are both labeled ABC Trading. If I click on any one of my buttons up above here, you can see a text box appears down below with the button label. It is here that we can update the button label to be anything we want to name it. To provide some variation between these 2 ABC Trading buttons, I'm going to add the number 2 to the end of this label. When I click Save and return back to my home screen, you can now see we have an updated button label to ABC Trading 2. Users also have the ability to remove any unwanted or unused buttons from their layout. To do this, once again we're going to open up our community window, navigate back to the My Buttons tab, and navigate to the button that we no longer wish to see on our layout. In this particular case, we'll get rid of this second ABC Trading button that we have. To remove the button, simply click the little blue trash can. Confirm that this is the action you want to take. Now that we've completed it, when we return back to our home screen, you can see that second ABC Trading button is now gone from our layout. This concludes our video on navigating Cloud9's community window and creating and accepting new invitations with counterparties.